picture yourself being in a box the size of a room. Not too big, not too small. In this box, you can perform all kinds of activities. However, what you didn't know is that your whole body soon struck a feeling of uneasiness. You can hardly move, even though you have space around you. You do not exactly know why, but you just don't feel comfortable. Suddenly, breathing becomes difficult. In an instant, your palms take on a sweaty aspect. Your heartbeats are no more under control. To get out is impossible. You are only in there for minutes, but this feels like you've spent an eternity battling against your senses. Jesus, what could this be? You mutter. Minutes of pure hell and agony where you do anything possible in your possession to end with this. Am I going to die? You ask yourself, terrified. Before reflecting on all the things you've accomplished and all the things you would have loved to accomplish. To this, I say one thing. I say, relax. This is what happened to me. Last year, I went on vacation with my mom in the north of Luxembourg, my home country. We were staying in this rural hotel. Nothing special, but still cozy, you know. It has all the amenities you need. I got asked tons of times about that, actually. My friends, when I told them that, they were like, spending your holidays in Luxembourg? Your home country? What? Really? They couldn't believe it. Anyway, the setting was idyllic, and to be woken up by cows was quite something for a city dweller like myself. Plus, I had the time to rest before traveling to Spain. I was going to pursue my university studies. So, what happened the next day? The next day, we had lunch at the restaurant in the small town of Clairvaux, picturesque, if you know a bit about Luxembourg. So we sat down, started eating. I had a beer, you know, one of those fresh ones they serve you straight from the fridge. So far, so good, right? I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Quickly enough, my limbs went numb. I was starting to feel very warm. I had a hard time breathing. I mean, why was I experiencing all these goddamn strange reactions if I was just sitting casually having a lunch with my beloved mother? You know? I have to say this. I have to say that this spooked the hell out of me. 30 minutes is what it had lasted. And this sudden sense of losing control, as if I became suddenly crazy, I will never forget. This might sound familiar to you if you possess any kinds of GADs, also known as generalized anxiety disorders. I was recently made aware of it. I did not at that time. I remember coming back from that same trip, and I went to the doctor. He made the diagnosis and quickly said, doctor voice, "Sir, I do feel that you suffered a syncope, reflex syncope." okay. I mean, is it serious? I asked. I was fairly worried. I had no idea at that point of what this meant. Nah, this can happen, right? 50 euros the 10 minutes consultation to tell me this? Thanks, I guess. Problem, however, intensified and took a chronic form in the ensuing months. I developed some kind of PTSD from this, and of course, current situation did not help. This was back in September, so quite recently actually. This was confirmed a couple of weeks later when in Spain for my university studies. Luckily, I could predict and react before everything erupted most of the time. It never frightened me as much as it did the first time. But still, deep inside me, I felt a change. I had no more control. This was not life. This was survival. There were some days even when I asked myself, depressed, if this was ever going to end. Well, what I can say is that while not being able to carry out daily activities sucks for some time, it did not kill me. No shit, you wouldn't be if it did. Indeed, I wouldn't. I believe that these events, as dramatic as they may feel, are just obstacles in the lives of millions. Obstacles that can be overcome. We have, I believe, a long way to go before fully recognizing anxiety disorders as a major public health concern of our time. I look with joyfulness and excitement at how other major illnesses such as cancers are dropping thanks to more effective treatments and better prevention methods. On the other hand, the effects of vaccination on the long term to prevent diseases can no longer be disputed. Some diseases have been totally eradicated. Others, such as polio, cholera, are on this path too. Now, all of this progress is great, really great. It may not seem very clear at all to us, but I will assure you of one thing. We, ladies and gentlemen, are living in the best era that the world has ever experienced in terms of wealth, political stability, and health. And in many things too. On the other hand, we have nurtured a distinct type of medical condition, more complex to pin down, since the reactions are psychological rather than physical. It is estimated that around 275 million people suffer from anxiety disorders, or about roughly 4% of the total population. And I'm not talking here about the other 6% who go through tough times and have other disorders, depression, alcohol use, etc. I'm speaking for them as well. And it will cost up, all of this, it will cost up to $16 trillion to the global economy by 2030, according to the World Economic Forum. This is what the numbers say. In reality, this is only the tip of the iceberg. millions still ignore their poor mental health or refuse to recognize it to avoid shame and guilt. There are countries in the Middle East, Africa, Asia, where it is taboo to ever mention it to avoid being categorized as the unstable one or worse, crazy. In countries hardly hit by conflict, where the likeliness of developing any kind of mental health disorders is higher, such as in Afghanistan, who are in dire need of mental health professionals, there is less than one psychologist per 100,000 inhabitants. Anxiety taught me to never give up. I am an optimistic by nature. I believe that current efforts are not vain. Awareness around the subject is increasing. While a colossal task ahead of us awaits, I am hopeful that our generation of young and responsible citizens will take the reins of change regarding that issue. History has taught us that mankind is capable of both terrible atrocities and wonderful innovations. Let us keep the great ideas that shaped its evolution. Governments have a duty to back up any initiative that can find sustainable solutions to tackle this suffering. Pharmaceutical lobbies cannot be given the sole leverage to act in that aspect. Psychologists and other professions that rely on soft ways of treatment as means to a desired end, free of all drugs, are the true architects of a sane world. Their duties must be respected, their actions aren't. No matter how hard you kick into that box, it will never magically open. Getting out of the anxiety spiral requires patience. So, take your time and accept your condition as it is. Speak out to anyone you trust. And inform yourself on the soft alternatives to pills. There are many. And these are often safer and more effective against these types of disorders in the long run. Only then you'll witness with great pleasure how the box widens and opens. Thank you.